Just heard a child outside yelling for no reason. Right before I started this, which makes me think this is the right thing to do. Atha Yoga Nusasana. And now, yoga. Famous words spoken by Patanjali. For some reason, when I heard that, I heard, and now, the dissertation. And I believe I have something to add. That might help. But I can only do this by giving you all me and my experience. A lot of people talk about shadow work. I see it thrown around on the internet. You must do your shadow work. You must do your shadow work. But never quite really is it explained what exactly that shadow work is. And inside of that, the people that truly want to know do not know. You can find many of things these days easily. But you can't find the thing of the shadows. So, since I say I am gray, and I have walked both the light and the shadows, which I did not know that I would eventually have to come to the world to walk both light and the shadows to get back to my center state so that I could be present. I have done a lot of shadow work. Let's say the majority of this creation is 80% feminine, something like that. It's some high number, 90% feminine, maybe 99, depending on the wall, I believe, or the shamans of Mesoamerica, Armando Torres and Don Juan Miguel. Light makes up very little of it. The path of light is an easy path, essentially, if you do it. But the path of shadow is long and arduous. To get back to the light, sometimes you have to dive into the deeps. That's why I'll tell you these things. Because it's important. That's the things I wish I would have knew when I was a kid. Or it was how I was looking for an explanation, but it didn't exactly come to me. It's hard to quantify what it means to me. But the easiest thing to do is to simply tell you. Now, throughout my life, a lot of my friends have thought that I'm crazy, or they say these things. They put that out there because the things I say are too wild for them to be able to comprehend. I did not realize at the time that everyone wasn't doing what I was doing. I was very selfish. Very, very selfish. I had a lot of pain and hurt that I had to get through. A lot of shadows to wade. And also I had the inner temple. Since all my friends thought that I was crazy-ish, I decided to name that place Insanity's Asylum. But as I got older, I realized it was my asylum, the only place that I could do true work at, and I was free to explore all avenues and aspects of all types of things. Where I could actually walk around within my own mind and it shows me things. It's a deeper realm one that's accessed by being meditative. I would walk to school, meditate, walk up and down the street, meditate, run through the woods, meditate, go into my closet and shut the door, meditate. I had figured that meditation would lead me there if I sought it constantly in everything that I did, to the inner world where I could work. So that's what I did. It became my asylum. At first it wasn't. There's a whole initial boot sequence that goes on, and you'll experience and see really unpleasant things. If you're an empath, this might be really good for you too, so that you can understand to separate yourself from others. Because when I dreamed, well, with the light of things that have come forth with certain individuals inside of society and what they like to do with young ones, and how this is all related to cult activities, sacrifices, the whole fucking issue. I don't want to say that word exactly. Get this flagged. Yeah. I used to, when I dreamed, would be at the rituals. I would see the things that was happening. I knew it. But how can you tell someone about such horrible things and not be labeled crazy? Who can you talk to about these deeper lessons and inner worlds and all this other stuff that's going on, and they wouldn't think that you were breaking? Can't talk to anyone about it. Nope. Oh, yeah, and I forgot. I don't wear my body anymore. I forget that I'm black. But back then, I was still dealing with the whole black man thing. And then combined with being a teenager, and now you're going through your hormonal shift and you're starting to look like an adult, and you're supposed to be growing into your great adult forms, going to be like 6'5", you know what I mean? Doing the thing, you know what I mean? Super tough. No. And then when I would go to sleep, on the inside, the person that I used to be, say reincarnation is a thing. Because reincarnation is a thing. The person that I used to be was there, and I looked at him, and I was like, but why don't I look like that? That was me, but I don't look like this. And it caused the whole issue with the whole mind and body and like everything, all that stuff, all that just got scrambled. Especially when you're a teenager, that's not good. That's whenever you start going through those social issues. So, you know, because all of a sudden the opposite sex existed, right? Like they weren't there, then they were, and you knew what was supposed to do with what. You had the equation at that point. So, what that's supposed to be like. But I didn't do anything back then. I waited until I was 19, actually. Or a month before 19. I was already in the military by then. So, I'm not saying to go out and lose your virginity or nothing like that, people. Children, young ones, if you come across this and you're looking for shadow work. I'm just talking to you as a preparatory type thing. This is a dissertation. It takes time. You can't just go through all this in one video. I wouldn't even be able to cover all the thoughts of it inside of a week if I was just constantly talking. I have to break everything down to where it's digestible. So I was dealing with that, the mental issue, the self-image thing of who am I? What is this life? Why is this world like this? People are still hungry, homeless. When I was like 5, I was doing a Feliz Navidad thing inside Head Start, Christmas time play. That's what that means. And we were singing Feliz Navidad, espero este felicidad. Dun, 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 dun. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Like, that song jammed when I was 5, yo. I loved singing that song. But my teacher had to go and bring some stuff up. She was like, how do you feed the world? 5-year-old me, pretty smart. I got the answers. Yeah, I was 5. Alex, you feed them. Oh, snap, man. It's the answer. You feed them. It doesn't work that way. What? Why not? What that about? So, I'm grown up now. I'm 31. And I'm like, I still don't understand why we can't feed them. Why aren't you being a good person? I was brought up into the Christian church at first, when I was a kid. And then they didn't have the answers. See, they didn't. I would be sitting there and reading things that Jesus said, because it's like, he says, why do you call me Lord and do not what I say? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do what the dude said. What did the dude say? This dude was like, you can do what I can do. You can do even greater things, for I go to the Father. I'm like, so how we get to the Father? How we get to the Father? This is all by really big Bible scriptures. This is like, everyone knows these types of things. It seems like maybe you didn't know it. Actually, a lot of people probably don't know it. And that's why they have such an issue with the person. We're not talking about the cultists. So, he said, the kingdom of heaven. He says, first seek the kingdom. Cool. Where's the kingdom? And it's like, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Now see, he said, I used to go to the church all the time. They would always point out, see, the Lord, he said, read, the kingdom comes not worth observation. They will not say lo here. No, they will not say lo here or lo there, for the kingdom comes without observation. He said, they will not say lo here or lo there, for the kingdom comes without observation. So you all trying to get to heaven. The kingdom will not come by your observation. I'm like, all right. The kingdom of heaven is in you. Oh, okay. Cool. So it's in me. Well, they done died and gone up to heaven. Where the hell does that come from? How, if he said that it's within you, how the hell then do you die and go to heaven? And you go up there, gone up to heaven. You say up. That would be, it would be in, not up. So I was like, man, there's something going on here. These people don't know what the hell good. Like, they don't know. There's something here. I can't read what's here. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do my own thing. Stop reading the Bible. Because I was seeing too much stuff, and every time I asked the question, like, the answer was some old, like, gibberish that was not what my discernment told me that was not the answer. That was some, I don't know what that was, but it was not the answer because I felt like there was an answer. This is Kid Me. Kid Me knew stuff. He didn't know he knew stuff, but he knew stuff. I had to forget so that I could find my way back and remember. But he knew stuff. Past and future meet in the now. And I can remember the things. Yeah. What's important anyway? So, dude knew things. I went off and became Wicca. That's what everyone does. I'm an edgelord, you know. Back then, I gotta be edgy. I'm a witch. I'm a witch. It's what people, when you're a teenager, I'm a witch. But I didn't want to be a witch because that sounded lame. So I was like, I didn't like wizard either. So I said warlock. Which, I'm not a warlock. Warlocks betray the covenant. Nah. But we often claim many things to be many things that we aren't. We put on a lot of filters on ourselves. So I settled with being a mage. Yeah. Mage is much better. Mages are the most chillest. They read books. They may do rituals. May not. They have their whole like workshop that they work in, you know, tinkering and things. You know, mages, definitely the way to go. Don't really like the whole wizard. Don't really. I had to trace the word of wizard. I don't know what that means. But mages, messing with the magnetic force, understanding the deeper natures of things. Yeah. And so a mage is imagine. That's what they'd be called to the Bible, technically. A magi. Whatever. And they're called that in other places. So I learned of the more natural, earthy thingies. And that's where the shadow work came. Because somehow, I had remembered, I had experienced a great pain when I was a kid. And it kind of, inside of a way, shook things awake within me. So, yeah, that had to happen. Nothing around it. And it's led to a more fulfilling thing. It was just a part of the path. So yeah, I got into all that stuff, started learning how to use the mind, meditation. And I was like, I want to know, what is God? Does God exist? Does it not exist? What the hell is it? I understand the goddess being the mother of all things and stuff like that. Cool. That's like from Wicca, which the mother is like everything inside creation that's living and reproduces. It has to switch between two different sex organs, like the majority of them do. And that's how they impregnate themselves or whatever. They have two different systems built into the body or outside the body that must come together in order for life to be generated. So if this is a foundational principle shown inside of the creation, then the higher, and as is above, so is below. That means as is above, to bring forth the creation, the one creator had to become two, a male and a female. The vibration, it's when the one infinite being spoke, it created two. Because it's one's gonna go this way, one go that way. You know, it's the wave, the peaks and the troughs and all that stuff. It's within everything. It's the vibrational frequency that holds the atoms that we think are atoms into place. But if the vibration's not there, the atom does not exist. It exists by its frequency, its vibration. So that whole mother, and then one other side sees father, that's based upon the aspects of the higher creator, the infinite creator that is neither male nor female a person sees. Got it. They venerate the goddess mother. They venerate the Lord Father. Two different paths to the same thing. There's not one type of bird inside of creation, nor one type of worm, nor one type of flower or tree. There seems to be one way, one thing that binds all things together, but it expresses itself inside of a myriad of forms. So, this thing comes back together. You have to go back, you have to trace through it and get to the highest and most high. You have to see that, not a father or the mother, the things combined together. Now, from these two, they birth a son, which is the living perception that's looking out of our eyes, or the thing inside of a plant that breathes, or the thing within a rock that makes it hold its state. It's a type of force or power that's embedded within all life, and it is us. It is our vibrational tone. That's there's different vibrational layers or thoughts, because a thought makes a vibration in your head. It creates a frequency. So there are different thoughts that the creator had that brought your essential being into being. The quintessence of us is we are all the same being looking out of different eyes, and we have different filters that we perceive the world through. So that sun is within all of us. That is, every single thing has a trinity. They all have a trinity that represent different things, but it means the same thing, essentially. Some have a higher level, and then some have a lower level. But there's always the one that's up here, separated, came down, made the three. The triune God is what they call it inside old scripts. Okay? So, and then from here, it created 7 spirits. 7 basic vibrations, 7 dimensions, 7 layers of things, you could say. So you have the 7 layers of the things here, and then you have their realm, and then you have the upper realm, which makes a total of 9. 9 worlds, which lead to illusions, essentially. And once you complete the missions of the 9 worlds, and you finish all these different things, you return back to the creator. You are a complete and total being. Cool. We are emanations of the sun, taking on flesh built with filters, separated from all things. Essentially, life is about having our own journey, building our own meaning. One of the first Hermetic principles is all is mind. The universe functions on mentalism. Consciousness functions off mentalism, essentially, and how things are built. But in order to get to these higher learnings and truly understand them, you must do your internal work, which requires meditations upon meditations to strip things away from yourself, to reveal your true internal nature. I'm going to take people and things you've heard of and show them to you in a different way. Like I have a whole video coming up here on the yogi, Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ. And what exactly he was trying to say and teach from what I've seen inside of my studies. For people to look at in non-biased form and try to understand that I'm building a work and it will all carry a lesson. It's a dissertation. These things take a while. I want to show you the books. I want to explain to you the concepts. I want to read through the verbiage. I want for you to come to know. I can only point at the moon and tell you you must do this to get there. Inside of my youth and my meditativeness, I was doing all types of shadow work and working out all kinds of things. Fears, thoughts, impressions, things that were broadcasted through the waves of TV screens and airwaves and just all the various things. And also, I was astral projecting and seeing all the dark stuff happening against my will. It tainted me. I had to think, why do people like this exist? How are they real? Because I knew it was real. I wasn't like, that's a messed up dream. No, I had dreams like that far too often. I seen women getting beat. I seen homeless people getting beat, dying on the streets. I've seen so many things when I slept. The most horrible was always the chanting, the masses, and them doing things, and the shadows move, and other creatures from the astral worlds would start to emerge. They'd be blending the lines. The veil would be rendered. All because they were using a child as a conduit to open the door vice honoring life for power, vice going inside themselves and living by submission, seeking out and stripping away. They continue to progress through carnal knowledge, taking the sacred teachings of the internal and manifesting them externally. It's an internal, it's your human sacrifice. You have to give up your human self to become your higher self. That is the human sacrifice. You must stop being of the world of carnal men, stop being carnal, and understand what it is to be the higher version, what our higher self is. What is your highest ideal? That's why I say I aspire to inspire, and I want everyone to reach their highest ideal. Once you come to understand my life, my experience, my filters, perhaps it will help you on your pathway, because I'm not telling you to be like me, nor am I saying, dude, follow me. No, keep your eyes fixed on the one and have your journey. But that is the key to the path. You must have your journey. We are all unique thoughts of the infinite creator. We are all, since we're all unique, we cannot be special because we are all uniquely made. We should rejoice inside of each other in our differences and come to understand each other. Yes, I will give you my shadow work. I will explain things and go through doctrines and also like magic science, different things for the universal principles, I want this to be a complete thing. It's interesting though. When I was a kid, I said I would never teach at all. I had no interest in it. But now, with the world being the way it is, and me seeing young ones, so many young ones taking their own life, I've been swayed to move and act that perhaps my story, my lesson, my shadow work can help them. And for those of you who've done a good amount of shadow work, I would ask you to share your story as well. Let us bring the shadow to light so people can know the inner self and the darkness that they carry. The places where the mind travels, even if you don't want them to, don't want it to. The things that you will see, even if you do not want to, and the horrors. Through that, and us, how we handled things, how we recovered. Through that, I believe we'll start to take a step in the right direction. And also, people will understand they're not alone. Be brave. I know it's hard to share your inner self. I know that you might not want to. Sorry, I'm thinking about my words before I speak them. So sometimes it takes a few seconds to process if that's what I want to say or not. Because I'm trying to be open and accurate. But yeah, let us share. And I think that once we do, we will be able to do more, be more. So this is the beginning of the dissertation. Hopefully, you find my life and what I've experienced, the things that I've lived through, the ways that my mind worked and melded, and the places that I would go. Maybe, hopefully, my explanation will make sense and help out all of you. Time for the priest of ashes to do his whole thing, so that one can understand the embers that lie within the ash that always give birth to new fire.